I thought that I would read some of the Monster of the Week TTRPG book. The book itself is by Michael Sands. It's a TTRPG that I've very much enjoyed in the past. Ran a game myself in the system but never been a player, though I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought Ignite might be something of interest to read. So it begins with a foreword to the revised edition. Hi there, my name's Fred, and I'm a bit late to the party. I've always loved the urban fantasy genre, and I've been particularly happy to see it take over prime time with shows like Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Supernatural, and Sleepy Hollow. Yet somehow the first edition of Monster of the Week, a game modelled after shows like those, flew under my radar. But when I finally did find Monster of the Week, man, did it bite me hard. A system driven by apocalypse engine sexiness, a genre I ape for, and small choices made at every turn in the text and design. The game had it all, as particularly taken by its clarity. This is a game that's easy to read, learn, and put into practice. As is my way, I threw lots of enthusiasm at the game. I started, still ongoing, campaign inspired in part by Harry Colony's 20th Palaces series, and I wrote up a new playbook based on a particular wizard of my acquaintance. You'll find it in this book as the Spell Slinger. I also looked into how this game was getting out into the world, because, man, it deserved to go far. Turns out it wasn't getting into the world in all the ways it could. It wasn't in retail distribution, and physical copies largely only happened via print on demand. I wanted to help bring Monster of the Week to a broader audience, so I asked Michael Sands, the author, if he'd be interested in partnering with Evil Hat to get the game out to retail. Michael was on board with the idea, and he had a few revisions in mind too, and I had some ideas about improving the layout and increasing the amount of art. And several months later, you're reading the result, a game that's as great as it ever was, and better in some ways than ever before. I can't wait to hear how it works at your table. You're in for a treat. There are monsters out there. Most people don't believe in monsters, but they're real. When someone finds out that monsters are real, it's usually just before they get eaten. But some people are mean enough, smart enough, crazy enough, or hurt enough that they live. And so if those survivors go on a crusade against the monsters, that's you. It could be that you make a stand and defend your hometown from everything evil that comes there. It could be that you take to the road and go hunting them down, wherever you can find them. It could be that you have magic powers to put you on an even footing, or that your name came up in prophecies thousands of years ago. The one sure thing is that you aren't going to go back to your old, safe life. What you've signed up for. When you play this game, most of you will create hunters, people who have devoted their lives to killing monsters. One player will be the Keeper. That's short for Keeper of Monsters and Mysteries. The Keeper will be in charge of designing monsters and mysteries for the hunters to deal with, bringing the world to life, portraying the monsters and people the hunters meet. The rest of you will decide how the hunters work together to investigate the weird situations they find, slay the monsters causing the trouble, and save the people in danger. Your hunters aren't normal people. You're not even normal monster hunters. You are the ones who stand out, larger than life, twice as badass. You change the world, save it, destroy it, or alter it forever. One way or another, you will make a difference. What you'll need. The game works works best with 3 to 5 people, with one of you acting as keeper. It works with more or less people too, but there will be a corresponding change to how much time each person gets in the spotlight. Make sure you have copies of the Hunter playbooks. Each of these is a rule, reference and record sheet for your Hunter. Enough Hunter reference sheets to go around. A keeper reference sheet, one mystery sheet for keepers, or an introductory mystery to play. Pencils and notepaper for everyone. A pair of normal 6-sided dice for each Hunter. The keeper won't need dice. Also handy, most for keeper, is a big list of names that you can use for characters that will be part of the game. I like to use the Story Games Names Project book, but a phone book or the cast and crew list of a film works just as well. If you want to set your adventure in a real place, you can find a source of maps such as Google Maps will be useful. It's a good idea to have drinks and snacks for everyone too. A mystery is one situation for the hunters to deal with, like a typical Monster of the Week episode on Supernatural, Buffy the Vampire Slayer or The X-Files. Each time you sit down to play expert to get through a single mystery, each time you sit down to play, expect to get through a single mystery in about 2 to 4 hours. Sometimes it might stretch out longer, so that the mystery is split like a 2-part episode instead. The first game will take a little longer because you have to make up your hunters at the beginning. What you should read. I've written the rulebook in order that you'll need to use as you play, with all the hunter information first and the keeper section after. If you want to skip and just hit the basics, here's some suggestions. If you're going to be a keeper, focus on the first session section. That covers what you need to prepare and what to do before the first game. It's best to know the hunter's basic moves and playbooks, at least in passing. If you're going to play a hunter, read the hunter playbook and about moves and ratings. Most important is to pick which hunter types you want to play. If you've played Apocalypse World or another game based on those rules, such as Monster Hearts or Dungeon World, then plenty here will be familiar. Check out ratings, stats in Apocalypse World, playbooks, and basic moves to get a sense of what the main difference is. Luck is new. The Keeper, MC in Apocalypse World, agenda and principles, threats and moves are different, and mysteries and arcs take the place of fronts. If you're an experienced role player who hasn't played Apocalypse World, the game these rules are adapted from, check out the Hunter's playbooks and the moves and ratings. From there, everything else should fall into place. If you want to run a game, right away skim running the first mystery and on with the mystery, and then read through Dream Away the Time on page 149. That should be enough to get you up and running. You can come back for more details later. Structure. The book is split into 2 main sections, the Hunter and the Keeper. Each section contains the rules for the corresponding player role. It's helpful for the Keeper to be familiar with how the rules work for Hunters as well, for their own Keeper responsibilities. There's also no reason for other players to avoid the Keeper section. There are no spoilers there, except in example mysteries. If you want another perspective on the rules. Feedback. If you have some feedback or just want to talk about the game, you can send me an email at mike@genericgames.co.nz or post at the Monster of the Week forum at apocalypseworld.com/forum/index. If you want to keep up with Monster Week news and updates, you can watch the game website at evilhat.com/Monster of the Week or at genericgames.co.nz or follow at motw_RPG on Twitter. The Hunters. So, you're going to be a monster hunter, I'll take you through what's happening the first time you sit down to play, creating hunters, coming up with a team history, and getting on with investigating mysteries, and slaying some monsters. It's written to tell you what you need to know in order you'll need it. It's written to tell you what you need to know in the order you'll need it, with a few digressions along the way. In the first session, you'll create your hunters and investigate your first mystery. The first steps is decided if the group wants to pick a team concept. That's the reason you are a team. For example, we all work for a secret monster hunting agency, or we defend our hometown against the monsters that keep coming here. The keeper may have some suggestions based on what they have been planning. If you have a team concept that needs certain hunter types, allocate those first. If you don't have a team concept, just let everyone pick a playbook. That's your hunter's role and record sheet, and see what the team looks like. You'll work out why they are together as you create your hunters, establish their history with each other, and as you play the game. The hunter types are the Chosen, a once ordinary person who discovered they have a special destiny and who has been given the power to accomplish it. The Chosen is good in a fight with some weird powers. An example is Buffy from Buffy the Vampire Slayer. The Crooked, a criminal turned monster hunter haunted by their pasts and enemies. The Crooked is good in social situations and has lots of contacts, e.g. Anna Valmont from the Dresden Files or Peter Bishop from Fringe. The Divine, an agent of a higher power with a mission to fulfill. The Divine is very tough and has been granted holy powers, e.g. Castiel from Supernatural, Michael Carpenter from the Dresden Files. The Expert, the hunter who knows all about monsters and magic. The expert knows a lot of hidden secrets and how to find out more, and also has a well-supplied base to work from, e.g. Bobby Singer from Supernatural, Rupert Giles from the Buffy the Vampire Slayer. The Flake, a conspiracy theorist. The Flake is great at finding things out and seeing how the events of separate mysteries are connected. Examples are Agent Mulder or the Lone Gunman from the X-Files. The Initiate, a member of an ancient monster-slaying sect trained to fight and use magic. The Initiate is good with magic and their sect provides help and sometimes problems, e.g. the Wardens from the Dresden Files or Annalise from 20 Palaces series. The Monsters, a monster fighting for the good guys. The Monstrous is very weird and can have a variety of different powers based on what monster breed they are. Examples: Angel from Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Angel. Bill Compton from True Blood. The Mundane, just a normal regular person, especially good at dealing with regular people you meet and have to save, and at getting captured by monsters, which can be more useful than you might expect. Example, Xander or Cordelia from Buffy the Vampire Slayer. The Professional. You work for an agency that hunts monsters. The Professional is good in a fight and a good team player. Example, Riley and the Initiate from Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Olivia Dunham from Fringe. The Spellslinger, a trained wizard wielding powerful magic in their crusade against evil. The Spellslinger's arcane training gives them an advantage when dealing with eldritch secrets, e.g. Harry from the Dresden Files, Willow from Buffy the Vampire Slayer in the later seasons. The Spooky has psychic or magical powers. These powers are strange and sinister, and not completely under the Spooky's control, e.g. Sam Winchester from Supernatural, Willow from earlier seasons of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. The Wronged, revenge-driven and really tough, the Wronged is all about killing a specific breed of monster and protecting others as you do. Examples are Dean and John Winchester from Supernatural. Extra hunter types. There are some extra playbooks out there, some official and others fan-made. You can find advice on making your own on page 302. The current available hunters include the Action Scientist, just like it says, a scientist ready for action and dealing with monsters, directly inspired by Atomic Robo. The Big Game Hunter, an expert hunter who has decided to hunt monsters for the thrill of the chase rather than the need to protect. The Constructed, a build being now free of its maker, inspired by Frankenstein's monster. The Exile, a monster hunter from the past who has been transported to the present day. The Hard Case, the toughest, hardest to kill fighter, e.g. Ray Lilly from 20 Palaces series or Owen Pitt from the Monster Hunter International series. The Luchador, a heroic masked wrestler fighting to protect the innocent between matches. The Mad Scientist, a crazy scientist who has seen the error of their ways and is now working for good, so they say, anyhow. The Meddling Kid, Jinkies, I think there's something more going on here. An old man Smithers seems to be involved, e.g. Scooby-Doo and the Scooby Gang. The Sidekick, they worship another hunter on the team and is good at helping them out, and one day they'll be just as good as their hero, e.g. Garth from Supernatural. The Snoop, a journalist looking for the real story behind weird events, great at finding stuff out, terrible at fighting, e.g. the Ghost Facers from Supernatural. The Summoned, a creature summoned to end the world, but who has decided they do not want to do that. Lots of weird powers, dangerous and hard to kill, e.g. Hellboy. Most of these are available at the Monster of the Week website. Just one of each. Only one hunter of each type is allowed at the same time in any game. That's just because you're not just one of the types of hunter, you're the archetype. There may be a whole agency of professional monster hunters, but only one of them is the professional. Making your hunter. After you've all picked your hunter types, you'll spend about 20 to 30 minutes of the first session defining their abilities and establishing the relationships in your team. Follow the instructions in your player book to create your hunter. You don't need to spend too long deciding on each judgment in the player book. If you make any choices you regret, you can always revise them after the first session. When you get to the introduction section, wait until everyone catches up. The keeper will guide everyone as you make up your hunters, so ask them if you have any questions. For the keeper, there are instructions on how to guide this progress in the first section section on page 163. Okay, so I think I'm just going to wrap it up here. There's a lot of stuff in this book. It's a brilliant book and a fantastic system. I've really loved it so far, and I hope in the future to run a game. We did one that was small town, group of townsfolk defending it secretly from monsters and trying to figure out why monsters were attacking their town. It's very dramatic with lots of twists and turns and many divides between the players, or rather the player characters, and yeah, we had an absolute blast, and I've always wanted to return to the game. Just other games have kind of gotten in the way, but hopefully in the future, at some point I'll be able to return